Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we shall be re-reviewing the Krieg Combat Engineers. Now, the reason for doing this video is that my initial hot takes on the Krieg Combat Engineers when they were first revealed on Warhammer Community, and then we first got a proper look at them in the Codex when it first came out, were very positive, very good. I thought Krieg Combat Engineers were broken. I thought they were a very powerful unit, and I thought a lot of people were going to enjoy using them. But FAQs later, Minotaur and field manuals later, and sadly, these guys have fallen from grace. And so what I want to do in this video is to look at the datasheet, look at how it has changed, and really decide where these engineers currently stand. Are they meta or are they shelved here? And so without further ado, let's not mess around any further. Let's fix bayonets and charge right into this thing. Let us begin with a brief refresher of the Krieg Combat Engineer datasheet, and then we can get into how it has changed and how this unit has been nerfed. Krieg Combat Engineers have a movement of 6 inches, which is pretty standard in the Guard, but don't forget that they can actually go a lot quicker than this 6 inches would imply, because they also have the Scout's 6 inches ability, and they also have the regiment keyword, which means they can receive orders. And the weapon that you're going to want to go with them is the combat shotgun has assault. So typically these guys will be scouting 6 and then moving 9 with move, and then advancing, typically an average of 3 to 4 inches, and then still being able to shoot. So Krieg Engineers are still a maneuverable unit. They're still able to get across the board quickly, and of course they can apply that scout to any transport that they're in. So that aspect of the datasheet, the speed, their ability to actually get up and get into the enemy's grill, is still relevant and still works. As for the rest of their datasheet, they have a typical elite Guardsman stat line. They've got toughness 3, 1 wound, leadership 7, and objective control of 1, but they've got that better armor save of a 4+. However, it's important not to overestimate what a 4+ can do for you. Realistically, you're still going to die like piss. You're a Guardsman, you're not very tough, and you've not got very many wounds. The difference between a 4+ and 5+ is more of a comfort rather than having a big impact on the game. But hey, maybe you'll be able to save a few more battle rounds. As for the weapons and war gear of the Krieg Engineers, they can be taken in squads of 5 to 10 man strong. Most of them come equipped with an auto pistol and a trench club, but you're pretty much going to want to swap all of that out. Never go auto pistol, never go trench club. Your Watchmaster, your Sergeant, should be given a plasma pistol and a power weapon every single time, in my opinion. There are some people that throw some math hammer around regarding the hand flamer being a decent option. Okay. Me personally, I'd always go for the plasma pistol. Speaking of flamers, though, you can give one Krieg Combat Engineer a flamer instead of his auto pistol and trench club. That doesn't matter if it's a 5-man squad or a 10-man squad. You only ever get one flamer. You've also got the ability to swap out the auto pistols and trench clubs for shotguns, and you should always be doing this because the auto pistols and trench clubs are frankly terrible, and the shotguns look cooler in my opinion. And this unit is a shooter unit. It's not an assault unit, so don't be throwing them into combat. They'll definitely die. You're literally bringing a trench club to like a relic blade fight. Don't do that. Shoot them in the face with the shotgun instead. Finally, one Krieg Combat Engineer can take a remote mine and a close combat weapon. In terms of their abilities, the Krieg Engineers, like we said, have got Scout, which is probably their best ability on their datasheet now. They also have Grenadiers. Once per turn, you can target this unit with a grenade stratagem for 0 CP. That's decent. Being able to do 3 grenades is good, but it doesn't allow you to do additional grenades. So you can't do it on the Grenadiers and then do it on another unit as well. It just means you get to save a CP. That's nice, and a lot of people were really wanking off the Grenadiers ability, but in my experience, I have found that not always are you going to be using the grenade stratagem on the Grenadiers. sometimes you're going to need it elsewhere and you're going to need to spend that CP. So this Grenadier's ability is very much a nice to have. You can absolutely play around it and build strategies around it. But sometimes the grenades are going to need to go somewhere else. So it's not an amazing ability. It's just a good ability. The big thing that has changed for the engineers is how the remote mine works. So previously, it used to be that you could select one enemy unit within 12 inches of the bearer, roll 1d6 on a 3 plus the enemy units with d6 mortal wounds, or d3 plus 3 mortal wounds instead if it's a vehicle or fortification. Now that was very, very good, because 12-inch range meant that you could actually do it at a good range, unlike throwing grenades where it's like 8 inches, or like the Kazakin melter mine where it's like 3 inches. 12 inches actually gives you a good range. And if you notice, you didn't need line of sight. It was just, are you within 12 inches? Send the remote mine off around the corner, and now it can start doing the mortal wounds. However, this is the datasheet as it was originally released. We now need to look at what has changed. Firstly, the points values. When Krieg Engineers were first released, they were 35 points for 5 of them and 70 points for 10 of them. Very quickly after they were released, they went up to 70 points for 5 and 95 points for 10. This was because GW was worried that they were putting out too many mortal wounds for their points cost. Because Grenadiers on its own, like I said, is a nice to have, but you can really build a strategy around having units of engineers inside Tauroxes, scouting them forward, especially in things like Hammer of the Emperor detachment. You could scout forward, then you could break through, you could jump out, you could throw grenades, and you could also unleash a remote mine into someone. Being able to do all of that for 35, well, for under 100 points, because Taurox is 60 points and these guys are 35, was considered too powerful. And arguably, I do agree with that. I think that 35 points was probably a bit too cheap for the double doozy on the mortal wounds thing. Going up to 70 points and the datasheet being as it was, good remote mines, I think that was fair. But that's not where they stopped. The really big nerf to Krieg Combat Engineers, and what has prompted me to make this video, is that their fundamental gimmick, their fundamental trick of being able to do lots of mortal wounds for a cheap price point has been completely removed, essentially. Not actually, but realistically. So not only have they gone up in points significantly, but then GW hit them with the double nerf and brought their abilities' potency down. So the remote mine was changed to only having a 9-inch range, so down from a 12-inch range to a 9-inch range. It's essentially the same range as grenades now. And also, you have to be visible to the bearer. This was quite a big one, because what you could do is have Krieg Engineers that scouted. They didn't even need to be in Tauroxes. They could scout up and then launch the remote mine from out of line of sight, essentially giving you a pseudo indirect fire weapon. But they changed it to now you need to be visible. So they reduced the range, and they required visibility on dense boards like UKTC layout, on WTC layout boards. That's a killer right there. And then on top of that, they brought in the triple nerf. So they've reduced the range, they've reduced it doing line of sight, and then they reduced the amount of mortal wounds it did. It went from doing D6 mortal wounds to D3, and from doing D3 plus 3 to vehicles to only doing 2D3 to vehicles. I mean, fortifications as well, but no one ever takes fortifications. So to summarize the changes, the Deathcore Combat Engineers went up from 35 points to 70 points for a squad of 5 of them. And then they reduced the range on the remote mine. They made the remote mine require line of sight. And they also reduced the amount of damage that it can do. Taking all of this into account, I no longer think Krieg Combat Engineers are broken. I no longer think they're even good. Personally, I wouldn't take Krieg Combat Engineers in my army. I don't think that they offer enough for the price point that they're asking for. What I think would be reasonable is that either they stay at the same points cost they're at now, but they get their old remote mine back, or they go back to their original points cost. If you're going to have a unit which I think does a very unreliable and very low amount of mortal wounds now, and the fact that you need line of sight, and the fact that you're going to have to really pay for the hidden cost of the transport as well, I think paying about 100 points for a unit that can jump out and do, on average, not even on, like, 5 mortal wounds? Even then, it's not an average, because you could just not roll 3+. What if you rock up? If that was a 2+ or automatically went off, I think that would be a good change as well. But for 100 points to roll up and potentially do an average of 5 mortal wounds, I think is pretty reasonable. With a 33% chance of just failing to do 2 of those mortal wounds, yeah, 100%. Because you can only do that on 1 unit a turn, right? Because you can't do grenades on multiple units, because it just lets you do it for free, not on additional units. But asking for 135 points for a unit to do 5 mortal wounds with a 33% chance of failure, and to not be able to do that from a good range, and to not be able to do that from the comfort of being out of line of sight, therefore reducing its long-term ability to contribute to the game, because they've got to go out, do it in line of sight, and then it napped the clapback's going to kill them. Before, if they could do it out of line of sight, they could do the remote mine. If it failed, so what? I still got a 5-man unit that can run around doing actions, can run around maybe doing a bit of screening and whatnot. Asking for 135 points for that, if not more, if we're going for a 10-man squad, I think that's too much to ask. In summary, Krieg Combat Engineers released and they were good, but after various nerfs, the unit has changed so much, they can no longer really do the fundamental job that they were meant to do, and as a result, I wanted to make this video so that anyone that was looking for my opinion on certain units would see this video, and hopefully it will lead them down the right path rather than see my old video and them getting false expectations for a unit. I do think this unit can be easily fixed. I think they just need to essentially roll back some of the nerfs or roll back some of the points costs. But as they stand right now, I don't really see the point in taking Krieg Combat Engineers. You could argue, oh, take them in a big 10-man squad. If you're going to take a 10-man squad and they're 95 points, do you know what I'd rather do? Spend 110 points and get a squad of Kazakin. Because for 15 points more, I've still got my scouts. I've still got my 4+ armor save. But I've got an arguably much better ability with Warrior Elite, because that one's always good, and I can do it on multiple units in a turn, because I can have 3 hits of Kazakin, they can always Warrior Elite. And my Melter Mine, even though it's a shorter range, goes off on a 2+, and does the same amount of mortal wounds. And I've got a lot more firepower with my weapon options: 2 plasma, 2 melter, plasma pistol, hotshot sniper, all that good stuff. Right now, Krieg Combat Engineers completely miss out to Kazakin, and what I would like to see is for both units to be equally viable. And I know with that, the monkey's paw is just curled, and GW's going to nerf Kazakin into the ground. And he's like, oh, you want Kazakin and Combat Engineers to be on the same level? Pfft, you got it, buddy. Nerf Kazakin, 150 points. God damn it, why did I say anything? Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you think Krieg Combat Engineers still have play? Am I being overly harsh on them? Or do you think right now, if you're going to go Engineers, you might as well go Kazakin? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button and also subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure, and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and Patreons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.